Jeff Angelo sitting in for Jan Michelson. This is News Radio 1040 WHO Thursday edition, and thank you for spending part of your day with me. So I've already brought you the story of a high school that is banning the valedictorian title, the salutatorian title. They have decided that creates an unhealthy competition among students. And now we have a new story that's coming out of Texas. This is out of Plano, Texas. And there is a high school in Plano that has decided that the students who make the National Honor Society can't wear their stole at the upcoming graduation. Now, you know what that is. You've attended graduation ceremonies, and you're attending them right now. That's the little award that they're wearing around their neck that indicates National Honor Society. Well, this high school in Plano has said, nope, we're not going to allow that anymore because they, quote, want everyone to feel included in graduation and not single students out. Let me get an opinion from a gentleman who is named Michael Ray Newman. Michael Ray Newman works for Zig Ziglar International, and he advises companies nationwide on developing workers. So, Michael, welcome to WHO Radio in Des Moines. Thanks for taking the time today.
I appreciate you having me.
Hey, so Michael, just let me give your overall opinion. Before we get into any of the specifics of this, is this good policy by the school?
Well, it seems to be the more normal policy, unfortunately. But no, this is not good policy. At my little daughter's elementary school here in Texas, that's where I'm from as well, they have this benchmark testing they do, and they recognize the students that, over the 90th percentile, they get a little award. Well, last year they stopped that because parents were complaining that it hurt their kids' feelings because they didn't do the good work that the other kids did.
Yeah, and so, of course, I want to get, because you advise companies on developing workers, what your thoughts are going to be. Now you've had some personal experience with this type of policy. We're trying to develop young people for the workforce. This can't be good for them, right?
No, it's not good for the workforce. It's not good for the workforce, and it's also not good for them. The millennials that are coming up now they just have a different mentality. And at January of this year, there are more millennials in the workplace than there are baby boomers. So they're coming.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, they're coming. Now, they have a different mentality. We've found ways that really motivate millennials. They like collaborating, and then and being felt like they're included, and also they like a company to take and take into account their personal life. If they feel like a company's helping them fulfill their will of life, their balance, they kind of engage in that. And what we've been able to see from that, there's been millennials that have merged and have for the first time are really seeing how to compete, and they like it. It's kind of like the shark in the water. They smell the blood, and they really they get after it. But unfortunately, they've been not keeping score in little baseball. And I have two millennials, by the way.
Okay.
So I've dealt with this growing up, and I've seen it. I've seen them when my son is in T-ball, and they stop keeping score until they get to real kid pitch, and that just drove me crazy. So there is a way to manage them if you make them feel apart, make them feel like that they can change the world. And then you introduce the competition after the collaboration. It's been pretty successful, we found.
I got it. Okay. Because obviously, like you, Michael, I'm worried because, I work at an employer that rewards outstanding employees every year. There's an award, and you go for it. And what's interesting for me, Michael, is it seems like the fellow employees are happy to see one of their own recognized for outstanding work. I've never seen people get angry about that, because usually you're developing relationships in the workplace. You like your coworkers. One of them gets recognized. So where did we develop this environment that we thought it was offensive to people that somebody would be recognized for outstanding work? How did this happen?
And I guess I'm part of the problem because I raised two of those. We never took that into account. Competition is good. It's healthy. And even in inter-competition with your own family and with your own friends and with your own coworkers, that's healthy. It shows you where you are and where you need to go. That's what our whole country's built on. Where the misstep came, that's a mystery to myself and everybody. And we're still scratching our head on it. I don't really understand it because I'm part of the parents' generation that brought those kids up.
So your job is you work with bosses basically on developing workers. So tell me what the bosses' attitudes are right now, Michael. I mean, do they come to you and they're just completely mystified by this new workforce that's coming into their companies?
I'll tell you, the speaking and training industry in the United States is a $70 billion industry.
Yeah.
It's up 20% over last year.
Yeah.
And we're teaching generational communication because the bosses are coming with their neckties, tied up around their neck tight, and they feel like they're choking and pulling their hair out because, they can't believe that a mother shows up to a job and is upset because you gave their son a bad review.
Oh my.
That's really happened.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that going on in schools. We call them helicopter parents, but it's going on in the workforce now.
Yeah, and what that does when you become a helicopter parent, if I tell my son, don't climb that tree, you might skin your knee.
Right.
And then if I pull him out of the tree, he goes back to it, and I won't ever let him do it, he won't know what it feels like to fail. And you really don't have a teachable moment there. But if he's climbing the tree and I say, hey, you might not want to do that, and he falls, then he comes to me. I'm the hero because I'm putting the Band-Aid on the boo-boo, making it all better.
Right.
And he's susceptible, and he's open to learning, real coaching then. It's no different in the workplace. When you set somebody up, let them inspect what you expect and let them fail and then pull them back and coach them and teach them and then set them up to succeed instead of setting them up to – some of these parents are setting their children up to really have a hard first few years in the workplace, and that's where we're seeing that.
Well, and Michael, you just brought up a great point, which is like you and I are products of our failures. We failed, we learned, and we moved forward. It seems to me like this current culture is we got to protect people from failure. How do they learn otherwise, or is that possible?
I don't think it's really possible. I mean, you look back at your failures, that's a 100% why you are successful today.
Right.
Don't quit because of the pain. Move forward because the pain's already there. Make it count now. And we find that out when we're younger. You pay for it eventually. It'll catch up with you. Now I have two millennials that are my children, but I also have several that work for me, and I have two of them it's hard to outwork me. And I got two of them. One of them who runs Ziglar Social, and this kid will outwork. He pretends like there might not be tomorrow. So
right.
When you do get to that kind of intensity with the millennial, because it's our fault because there was parents they grew up in a generation of one-parent families, parents working 60, 70 hours a week, and we'd walk past them at the end of a long week and say, you don't have to settle. You should dream. So that's why they're dreamers. That's why they think they're going to go out and rule the world. Here's where we missed it as parents. We didn't teach them how to get there. We didn't teach them how to set their goals. We didn't teach them where they are and where they want to be is going to cause some pain. But if you're willing to stick it out and take those steps and do the right thing and always monitor and reassess your goals, you can get there. So that's what we're really teaching. And what we're finding when we do teach that with millennials, the ones that engage that old school mentality with the new technology and how smart they are now, well, you're creating some serious, intense leaders. And that's an exciting piece of it.
This is Michael Ray Newman. He is from Zig Ziglar International. And so, Michael, you're giving me some reason for optimism because I'm the dad of millennials as well. You're a dad of millennials. It sounds like, because, of course, one day they're going to have kids of their own. Is there some way of changing the culture that's been created? Are the millennials figuring it out and they'll be different parents to their kids?
I think there will be. I mean, but there's always going to be that I'm never going to be my dad, and that, oh my goodness, I am my dad.
Yeah.
We always have that. I think there is very much hope for that, but I still think there's. I was always wondering when my son was growing up, and I would ask people this, and my daughter, she was very competitive into a few different sports and dance and all this cheerleading, and I thought, I wonder what the backlash is going to be for being so engaged, and what that's turned out to be. So that's a great question that I really don't have the answer to.
Yep. So you touched on this a little bit earlier, Michael, but again, when employers are coming to you, and like you said, their tie's really tight, they're pulling on their hair, what are you advising them in dealing with these millennials as they enter the workforce and they've been protected from competition?
Don't panic. There is hope. We kind of lay out a plan. I mean, we start off with personality assessments for the older generation and the younger generation. We talk about the generational communication, how to slowly get them engaged, and you're really having to take a step back. It's a step that the millennials have missed because of the helicopter parents and because they didn't let them fail. You have to set them up for a little bit of failure that will give them success.
Okay.
That sounds backwards, but that's what we do.
All right, Michael, thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate your insight, valuable insight, and a reason for optimism, I suppose. Thanks for
Keep the faith, bro. Yeah.
keep the faith. Thanks for joining me today. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother. Call me if you need me.
All right, I sure will. All right, your turn. Now, again, all viewpoints are respected on this very show. I am mystified by the fact that you can't wear your National Honor Society stole at a graduation ceremony. Full disclosure, I was a National Honor Society kid. I wore my stole. I was very proud of it. I didn't know I was offending my fellow students. I thought I just worked really hard. And of course, I joke around with you about being 8th grade valedictorian, but I was. And there was, there's a high school banning valedictorians. Now, you may have a view that this is a good thing. And if you do, again, everyone gets respected. Nobody gets disrespected. I don't argue with them. Give me a call, 515-284-1040.